Good morning. Um, Today I'm thinking about making another video. It's about my salary in Shanghai. So I always thinking when the topic is related to money, it's a bit more juicy, and then people tend to stick longer. And I get quite upset about my last video didn't get many views. So I just can't wait to make another video. And I also go back and review the other video. I think one thing is related to the topic, and another thing is I guess I would sit there up too straight, and then it's like I'm reading out of a script. It's not natural, so I'm gonna switch back to I still make some notes, key points, but I'm still gonna just improvise and then just say the things in my mind. I'm gonna be very honest. I try to make this topic because I guess when it's related to salary in China, it gets a bit more juicier, and then people tend to be more interested. But still, it's still one of the biggest story that I would like to share. It's one of the progress I have made in my life. So yeah, it's not for the sake of having more views, just to make it clear. So a bit of introduction. So in 2021, I landed in this highest paid job in my career. So it's pay around 25,000 Chinese yuan per month. That's after everything, and it's roughly about 3,700 US dollars into my pocket. So just 3 years earlier, I've never imagined that earning that kind of salary in my life. And then in March 2024, I lost that job. I'm gonna dig in more details about it, but there's a bit of background. And today I'm working in a different company. I have less pay, but still considered to be alright in Shanghai. I earn about 19,000 RMBs, and that is roughly about 2,900 US dollars a month. And so I am earning less than before, but I guess I'm happier now because it is not a story about choosing a lower paying job. I didn't choose it. I was laid off in the first job, in the highest paid job. But looking back, I honestly think that losing the job completely changed the way I think about career. And before I continue, I would like to make one thing very clear. It isn't a comparison before these two companies, because the highest paying job is an Irish company, while the lower one is a British one. And I'm definitely not saying one is better than the other. It was just simply two very different companies in a very different stage of their business. So in fact, working for the Irish company was probably the most exciting job I ever had. And I learned incredibly amount of things there. I met amazing people, and I'm genuinely grateful that the opportunity I still had to keep in touch with bosses, managers, and my colleagues there. We're still in very good, friendly relationships. So, and overall, this is just simply my personal story. So before 2021, I had already been working for 6 years. And during those 6 years, my monthly salary was never went over 10,000 RMB. So that's around 1,470 US dollars. I did a conversion. And like many people, I work hard and hope one day I have better opportunity would come along. And then that one day it did. So a friend introduced me to a small Irish company here in Shanghai, and who was looking for an executive assistant. And there were 10 people in that company, and but I think the business was really good. And so to my surprise, they offered me about 25,000 yuan per month, and for me that felt unbelievable, because that's twice more than what I was earning back then. And besides the salary, I had private health insurance, and then annual health checkup, and then 15 days of annual leave. things like that. At that point, I genuinely thought that was my dream job. And then I started working there. Of course, I accepted the offer with no hesitations. And because the company was so small, I have so many different tasks. So one day I might be working on I don't know what's that on my eyelid, like on my eyelash. Okay, one day I might be working on the company admin, and then the other day I was managing client relationship, and I was hosting a lot of events, and I went on lots of business trip with my boss, and every day was different, and I had a lot of freedom to solve problems. So it could be very creative, and you basically had a lot of, you got to be someone like very good at problem solving. And I often had a company dinner, and there was not much concern about budget. And I met many successful entrepreneurs because our clients, and built like connections. I probably would never have this opportunity if I wasn't working there. So looking back, it was a very exciting environment. I grew a lot, like professionally and personally, but there was another side of it because the company business mainly was focusing on helping Chinese getting overseas residence in Irish. And so, and then about 1 year later, about 1 year later after I joined the Irish company, the Irish government decided to close down the program. You know why? Because the program went extremely popular when China was in the lockdown period, and so many Chinese people want to get it. And then I guess the Irish government thinking, oh, we have too many, we need to shut down the program. And will it open again in the future? No one knows. Probably not. Most likely it won't open again. And I stayed for another year just managing the client relationship, and also help my boss setting up other business, etc. And then my boss moved to Hong Kong. So I had to leave the job. And that time it was very depressing because I was thinking I was already 33, 32, and then it's definitely gonna be very painful looking for a new job. And yeah, a bit of honest review about that job. Yeah, it was great, exciting, but the company was so small, and then there were also pressures too about sales pressure, managing pressure, and then do I get enough events going on this year? And when business was doing well, everyone felt exciting. And when the business slowed down, everyone felt uncertainty. So in March 2024, I got laid off. And then move on to my next job is I was very lucky. A friend introduced me to a British company. Now this time, this British company, I'm not gonna say the name, but it's a big company, and it's been there for a long time, hundreds of years. And of course, it's very stable. And the salary was, yes, a bit lower than the Irish one. It's 19,000 yuan per month. And it is roughly about $2,900 a month. And I have fewer leave day too. I have less annual leave. And then I started noticing something unexpected. So it's a different kind of job. Still, my title is an executive assistant, but everything is more structured because this company has been there for a long time. And I guess everyone's job responsibility is pretty much set. So it's definitely less exciting, I'd say. We have less company dinner, and in there, I don't have the chance to organize any events. I don't have that much access to meet clients. At the beginning, I struggle a little bit because it's very boring. And it's not what I used to. I used to felt I was more important, but it's fine. I understand it's a big company there, and it's been there for hundreds of years. It will survive without any one of us, so it's just not very important, except the fact that you're not very important, but they pay me on time, and even the salary was lower to start with than the Irish company, but I see the growth in it. Every year, the company was like I don't know is that word even correct, like they have very good ethic, like they raise your salary a little bit every year according to percentage, and then the way to evaluate your work is very transparent, so the standard is the same across the company. And we receive also very good health care and annual checkup, we have that as well. Everything was perfect, and then I felt like it's just a job to me, you know, like the moment I'm out of the office, I don't need to think about anything about work anymore. And actually it turns out to be something what I like. If I was doing the Irish company, I probably wouldn't buy the apartment that I mentioned in the last video, because buying an apartment, yes, having a high income is good, but the bank would rather you having a stable income. So if they see you working for this company, they feel more like secured, you probably won't lose the job overnight. So it's a good thing. And just quickly to end this video, to summarize, in Chinese we have an old saying, 塞翁失马焉知非福, which means a setback might turn out to be a blessing. When I lost my job, it didn't certainly felt like a blessing, but at that time I was anxious, disappointed, and I know I probably won't be able to find something like that. But now looking back, I think it was actually good, because in this company I see the long term, and it gave me enough free time to, for example, work on the side hustle that I have right now, trying to make a video. So now looking back, I understand it much better than just saying it. So if you lost your job and then you struggle, just remember that a setback might turn out to be a blessing. You might meet something even better. Maybe not how it looks like, but it will, like in the long term. For me, my example, I was laid off and I got to a lower paid job, but this company was way more stable than the previous one. And yes, of course, I love exciting work like the one that I had in the Irish company. But now I'm also older, so I guess this is good. Like I would rather focus on my health, like I have more time to work out. And also, yes, this British company give us free gym access. So that means I can save some money I don't need to pay for the membership myself. I just have free access to the gym. This is also great. And when you go out and you tell people that, oh, I work for this company, it automatically gives you a very good image. Rather than a small company, yes, they pay me more, but I still need to explain what we do. And doing this golden visa thing, like helping people to obtain overseas citizenship, can be a bit dodgy here in China. Well, yeah, just sometimes life might not feel like giving what we want. Sometimes it's give us what we need. That's what I felt, and we only realize it. Lucky that I didn't realize it much later. I actually realized it just quickly 1 year later. It was good with this British company. And yeah, that was just my honest sharing. I want to make it a bit more natural. Yeah, I want to make it a bit more natural, not just reading up the script. So it's like talking to a friend. That's what I enjoy the most about making a YouTube video. I hope you like it, and then please leave me the comment down below. Is there anything like that? And then it's this salary. I'm pretty sure 3,700 salary is considered still very low in some country, but would be a good price. Would be a good salary for some country too. It would be interesting to know. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.